Plato said that when you go to Kemet school, you became more alert. You more wake up, your spirit wake up. And you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. Studies. We must know Medu nature. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some heretic too. We need to know Medu nature.
All right. ETM Hotep. Hopefully, I can be heard. Want to say good end of fair to everyone, which is good night because it is late on the East Coast. Today is April 29th. Well, it's April 28th, but after midnight, we say it's April 29th. 2022. Listening to the Seshu with your brother Wujau. That all rhymed. Wujau just spit some bars. But yeah, I'm just gonna jump in. Just decided to go live just to have some chit chat. Basically, I had came online, pulled up YouTube and I saw that Smash Rockwell was live, and I clicked the link. I clicked the video to watch, and then bam, it shuts down. So I think I caught at the. I can't even say I caught at the tail, and I caught the tail of the tail. So anyway, just decided to go live because I was looking at the chat after it shut down, and people was like, "Oh, it shut down, shut down," as if maybe there was a disconnection. I don't know. Maybe one of you all can let me know. But peace to the brother Donnie Williams in the house. That's the only person I actually see in the chat. Hopefully I could be heard. Okay. So anyway, ATM Hotep. So just chilling and chatting. But now, so the title of the video, what made me want to click on it was hold on, I gotta go back and see what the title was. It shut down and I am now over here. So I don't even maybe you all can let me know what happened. Anyone who's over there, I'm not sure if anybody's watching this right now, tuned into this, was actually watching or witnessed whatever was going on. So I'm just extending the conversation, whatever it was. Anything about Egypt, I could talk about Egypt for days, ancient Egypt for days. I'm known as MC Iron Lung. I will talk a hole in your ear. Yep. So Okay, so Donnie says somebody wouldn't shut up. Oh, okay. All right, all right, all right. I see, I see, I see. So it's one of those kind of things. Somebody was people over talking each other. Were people trying to overtalk each other? But see, when I pull back on the playhead of the video, I see the papyrus of my head peri or Malhepri. Um, yeah, and that's a good, that's an interesting papyrus. It's a good one. Um, you know, the Book of the Dead, so-called Book of the Dead, so-called Book of the Dead. Um, and now we all, people always say so-called Book of the Dead because we know that that it wasn't called that, and they only called it that because it was found in tombs. So it's the Book of the Dead, book belonging to the dead. But the usual name for it is Rau Niu Peret Im Heru. All right, Rau Niu Peret Im Heru is is a better name to call it. All right, so let's start calling things by their name, because if you can make those sounds with your mouth, then you might as well make those sounds with your mouth. That's why, you know, I have this thing about names and calling things what they are, so we to leave no room for confusion. You all should know by now I don't use the term Nubians, but I do understand what people try to mean when they talk about Nubians. They talk about ancient Egyptians. Um, if we really, really just stick to the proper names, the indigenous names of things, it will definitely shave off a lot of confusion that I see in a lot of conversations. It will cut down on unnecessary arguments as well. So anyway, I'm just sitting here, chilling, talking. I'm definitely paying attention to the chat. I got the chat on the screen. So yeah, I was looking forward to. I clicked on it. I didn't know that Smash was live until it was too late. So you all tell me. So Donnie, you seem to be very informed. So what was I guess what was the gist of the conversation, or what was the last things being talked about? What was the last things being talked about over there? And I know there's a delay, so I'm gonna keep on talking, but I do want you to, if you can break it down, explain. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna somebody said they have a question. Boss Money, peace to the chat. I have a question for the host. Go ahead, shoot it, Boss Money. So you got Bitcoin. So you got Bitcoin as an avatar there. Okay, I'm new to this Kemet stuff, and I'm lost in a lot of the symbols. Okay, I'm trying to look for the community. Okay, yeah, but go ahead and ask your question. I see that you okay, and EmiCat has posted the link. Let me pin it to the top. All right, so the link has been pinned. Yep. Let me give a shout out though. Metro customer, peace to the sister Tamika, uh, Boss Money, Donnie Williams, brother Zane, and whoever else is maybe watching but haven't typed anything yet. I can only see if you type. All right. So yeah, Donnie, we waiting for that debriefing. Waiting for that summary. Waiting for the summary. Waiting for the summary. So yeah, Boss Money, you say you had a question. I hope I didn't miss it. Oh, Metro Custom, you said anybody watching Moon Knight? Um, I'm familiar with Moon Knight. I'm a comic book head. I grew up collecting comic books. I was a comic book collector, not just a reader. I was an avid reader, but also a collector, trader, collector. And I'm familiar with Moon Knight as a comic book character. and I know that he's the character is connected to Egypt, and dealing with the moon, obviously the moon night and things like that. But it'll be interesting to see that. And I think is it how many seasons is it? Fill me in, fill me in. Yep, Donnie. Utterances of coming forth by day. But what does that mean though? A lot of people will say that's the book of coming forth by day and by night. Some people add by night. Gare, Heru, Gare. And so, but what does it mean? Coming forth by day and night. Like, how do you come forth by day and by night? What does that mean? Like, what is that? Coming forth by day, is it like, what is that? You know? Yeah, what's that all about? Okay, so let's see. I was wearing an unk, and somebody told me that the origin of it was a vagina and a penis. Is it true? And if not, then what's the original meaning? Thank you. Well, the answer is no, it is not a vagina and a penis. So that's the answer. That's the short and skinny. So I always like to answer questions as direct and concise as I can be, and then I elaborate. Because I'm not sure if you're familiar with our channel and things like that. So I'm just letting everyone know for the record. That's how I try to deal with things. Shoot it straight to you and then elaborate and explain, because I can definitely be long-winded. So the answer is no. The origin of it is not the vagina and penis. In ancient Egyptian language and in the writing system, they do have a symbol for a female reproductive organ, or the vagina. It is the word kat. All right. As a matter of fact, let me show it to you. Okay. So I just want to be clear, since you asked the question, and I'm just chilling. I have some time, so I might as well pull it up. Make sure I get the right word. I'm gonna show it on the screen. The word for it, and I'm going to show you the glyph for it. I gotta blow this up, because I know you all won't be able to see it unless I blow it up. All right, give me 1 second to share. I'm gonna have to take the chat off, you all. I'm gonna take your question off so y'all can see it really good, nice and clear and big. That's how we gonna do it. All right. So first, let me tell you the dictionary that I am using for this. I'm using Mark Vigus dictionary. All right. It is a dictionary that I recommend all beginners to use, but also tell people to get every dictionary you get your hands on. But the Mark Vigus dictionary is a very good dictionary for beginners, because it is free, it is digitized, and it's searchable based on the transliteration system that we know as manual decodage. All right, that is why. And it's filled with a lot of vocabulary. It's very, very large. All right, this is the 2018 edition that I'm showing on the screen, and I know y'all can't see it. I gotta make it bigger, so pardon me. Let me make this bigger. Remove me. Okay. So if you all can see that, I think I need to widen this up a bit. We'll make it big as possible. All right, there we go. Now we can see. So what I want you to see is the word kat for vagina. And here it is right here. It's highlighted in yellow. It's on the screen. Now, so that's the word for vagina. Okay, kat. Now it is represented in the glyphs in a few variations, a few various ways. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to the glyphs here. All right, you have the upraised arms, the vulture, bread loaf, and flesh. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 glyphs. Very easy to remember. All right. So this is they translate it as vagina or private parts. But let's look at some other words, because I want you to see the determinative for it, which is here. Now you see this determinative here is 1, 2, 3 glyphs in this one here. I don't know if y'all can see my cursor, but it's this one here, kat, vagina, and it is determined by a vagina, which is look like a canal, or you know, tunnel, and a bread loaf at the end, a bread loaf glyph, and then it has a curve at the top, 2 curves at the top. That is a vagina. That is not an unk. All right. So I just want to be clear on that. Now, also the word for penis or phallus, as most scholars will translate it, is this glyph here, which is the glyph D52. Okay, Gardner code, that is D52. You see it right here, D52. I'm gonna highlight it, D52. D52 right there. All right, that is a phallus. All right, so that's not where the origin of the unk comes in. All right, so I just wanted to show you that while I answered your question. All right, so hopefully that was nice, quick, swift, and easy, and to the point. Now, to expound even further, the unk, because I think your question, let me see if I lost your question. If it's true, is it true? If not, then what's the original meaning? Okay, so I'm going to answer that part now. The unk is a rope. It's made out of a rope. All right, that's what it is. It's a rope. And it is a symbol that is used graphically, or in a graph or glyph, to represent a few words. Most people know the word unk to mean life. All right, and that is definitely what one of the words mean, life. But there are other words that are also the word unk. So the way that we spell it in our transliteration, the way that we pronounce it, are identical, and we refer to those as homophones and homographs, or transliterated homographs. All right, or homonyms. Words that sound alike and they're spelled alike, but they mean different things. That's what a homograph is, words that spelled alike but mean something different. A homophone is words that sound alike but are different. Okay, homophone, homograph. So there are as far as how we transliterate it, and even in the glyphs. So there is a word unk that means sandal strap, which is which comes from the fact that the sandals or the shoes that people wore were tied to the ankle. All right, so you have that notion of tying. Then you have the word unk that means document. Okay, and that comes from the fact that papyrus rolls were tied with rope. All right, then you have the word unk that means obligation, an oath, or an obligation. And think about what an obligation is. An obligation is you, when you make an obligation, you are figuratively tying yourself to perform something or to do something. We call it a promise or an obligation or an oath. You take an oath to uphold something. You are binding yourself to something. All right, that's a word unk. Then there's a word unk that is associated with a prisoner. And what are prisoners indicative of? How do we know a prisoner is a prisoner in the ancient Egyptian culture? They are tied. Their wrists are tied behind their back. All right. So we have this notion of tying and ropes being involved. Tying of the sandals on the ankle, tying of documents, tying of wrists, and figuratively tying yourself or binding yourself to perform a duty or a job. Okay? That is what the Ankh is and what it represents. All right. So hopefully that was clear and as elaborate as I can be this late at night. All right. So now we keep on going. Now the panel link has been pinned to the top of the chat. So anybody's welcome to come on the panel. I'm not gonna stay too long. It's late, but I decided to come and chill out a bit. All right. So I'm gonna keep going down the chat. So hopefully you all understand that that's what the Ankh is all about. The Ankh has has something to do with tying. All right. That's the majority of the connotations with that word. All right. But like I said, there is a word Ankh that means life as well. Life, living, depending on the variation or the form of the word. All right. So that's that. Let me stop sharing. All right. Yeah, see, I'm solo tonight. All right, so let's see. What else we got? Yeah, like I said, all I see Smashes in the building. So Hotep, ETM Hotep. Yeah, I had tuned in, man. If Smash is still there, I tuned in. As soon as I tuned in, boy, the thing clicked off. It ended. I said, man, I reached the tail end of the video. I didn't even get a chance to see anything, but I kind of refreshed my screen and pulled the playhead back a bit, and I saw the papyrus of Maheperi or Mahepri, and that's always an interesting topic. I mean, it's the Book of the Dead, so, but that one is pretty special because you don't really see it much. I mean, you see that one image because people use it to say that the Egyptians were black because he's depicted very dark on the papyrus. And they have his mummy from I think KV 36 or some the tomb. What's interesting is that his name, they say his name, the word Mai, well, people say Melhepri or Mahepri, but it's actually three words. Mai Her Peri. Peri is a field that you can go to, usually thought of as a field of engagement, a battlefield. And Her is the word to be upon, to be on top of something. And then Mai is the word for lion. And so most scholars will translate that name as the lion that is upon the battlefield. All right, so that's what the consensus is at the as far as his name that you see mostly about. But yeah, I don't know what the topic was. I was interested and I wanted to try to check it out, but I was too late. Let's see. I'm trying to Smash it. He can elaborate on what happened. Yeah. Smash can elaborate because the brother Donnie has said that the show has stopped abruptly or something. So, well, I was wondering what happened. Jehudi Ma'at says, I wonder where that misinformation coming from. Oh, about the Ankh. Yeah, I can tell you. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and I'm not. I'm just shooting it straight. There's a big difference between people who are actually students of ancient Egyptian culture and engage it with proper methods, through the language and things like that as a resource and not as a reference. Then you have people that just like to talk about Egypt and everything. And in my experience, and I've been doing this for quite a while now, in my experience, it's clear. Like I see it like clean glass versus dirty glass of water. A lot of the pseudo misinformation comes from a camp, a group of people that don't study ancient Egypt. They don't actually study it. They don't actually engage it by way of the language. It never fails. There is no exception to this in my experience. And so a lot of misinformation floats around there. But the thing is, always dealing with the misinformation it's gonna hold us back. So I'm telling y'all that have I don't really tolerate that like I used to 10 years ago. I don't tolerate because at some point people gotta people gotta just realize that there's no progress being made when these things keep being brought up and argued. It's not even set up like school, and that's another thing. Because that's my thing is actual andragogy, pedagogy, and if you don't know those two terms, um, then you haven't been around me because I say those words all the time. Andragogy, pedagogy. Pedagogy and andragogy. Pedagogy is the science of teaching children. Andragogy is the science of teaching adults, and that's where I am very comfortable at or in. And I'm in the works now to set up a institution type of procedure where people can come in and learn and progress can actually be measured. Later for these circular conversations where you don't know if people learning or catching on again, and then they come back up again. You got to explain stuff to different people who learn stuff. Nah, that's not. That's we ain't gonna get anywhere with that. Oh, I see Smashes in the building. So yeah, I'm up here by myself. So let me open the mic. I'm gonna run in my mouth. So yeah, Smash, you gotta explain what happened, man. I'm tuning in. You done end the party. He's like, oh, here come Wujal. Let me end it.
I actually was looking for you the whole time. I was like, man, they say when the student ready, the teacher's supposed to show up, and you ain't. You someplace else doing something else. I
Yeah,
was
man.
trying to.
I saw the title. I tried. As soon as I clicked it, it was like it was you by yourself, and you said something like, see now I got in the mood, man. I got thrown off. I got in the mood, man. I might smoke a J or something. You said something. I'm like,
my energy because
yeah.
I was puzzled, bro. Let me tell you what happened. We was having a dialogue, but I let Jeremiah Judah and now Valley Hebrew on just because
Oh
why
man,
not?
say no more.
Why
Say-
not? You
you
know,
ain't got to say
yeah.
nothing else.
So Jeremiah Judah was actually cool. He had this energy he was trying to hold back. You know what I'm saying? But then now Valley Hebrew was trying to keep on stressing to us that we got to look at these glyphs from an African perspective. And after he said that about the 10th time, I don't know, my ego just, I Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on him one time.
Oh,
Went from trying to be studious to just, I couldn't hold myself back. So I apologized to them. But what really happened in the end was, for some reason, I couldn't hear what they were saying in the Zoom. And I had
oh,
asked a question about the text, trying to go back to the text. And obviously, I couldn't hear it, so I messed that up. So I apologize about that to the brothers, though. But yeah, I ain't here to
oh. Okay, okay.
filibuster.
Nah. Well, that I mean, as soon as you said, yeah, as soon as you said that, I can figure it out. Yeah, it gets like that sometimes. But so I see you got something on your background or the screen.
This
That's
is a
probably
piece of the Maya Hepri that we was working on, and we
yeah.
did
Make it
make
full
his
screen.
titles out. Because they say that they be like, oh, that was just a Nubian servant. Well, we've talked about
Oh no, he definitely not a
finishing
Nubian
this for a
servant.
long time. I remember Reggie saying, yo, let's do like a production where we get down on my happy. So I was like, why not start doing it as a public work or whatever type of a work. But then I started coming to certain terms where I needed some help. And I'm just gonna read what I said about this red section, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Cool. And then see what you think. Or, we got our dictionary so we could pop and see what was going on in certain areas. Obviously, we know about the jet, even though they feminized it and put these hieratic three strokes under. There's still the three strokes here, and just a recitation, but it doesn't say by. But then I got kafet or XFT, which meant according to. If you look that up in Vegas real quick, you'll see according to pops up. And then we got the moon here, I, or whatever, IAH, however that would be pronounced, Yah. But good brother Sean pointed out that this was a word itself with the moon and then this R, which was like a SR word, or he came back with guardians of the moon. The definition in Vigus right under guardians of the moon. Let me see if I can pull that up. This is where we was at. Vigus dictionary.
Oh no, that's not Guardians of the Moon right there.
Yeah, it was one definition under it though that seemed to match it because it had them the leaving feet or whatever, the come
That's the
feet or
word.
whatever.
That's the word seper, which
Yeah,
means
it's a
to.
pair. So tell me something about that term,
It means
if you don't
to
mind.
reach, arrive, like
Okay,
reaching,
great.
going somewhere.
So, well, again, it'll be translated. And this is where I fell off, obviously. And I know I got this down to like W10 or something, which was a cup. It's not the same basket we was looking at. But I came to this part, and I really think it was my frustration with not being able to get past this in the text. Even though we read this Ma'ati and got past that, but I got stumped here, and I think that's what really led to my ultimate collapse on the show. You feel me? But I was trying to explain to people how, in all reality, this is not. I mean, this is really a tedious and painstaking process when it comes down to trying to translate something to look like this. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you want it to be right, and so that's where I had left off with that text.
Okay, so go back to the top. Go ahead. I mean, the
All
top
right, yeah,
corner.
let's go back to the top.
That's the top corner. Okay. Well, hold up. Zoom out first. Zoom out first, because I wanna just explain. Um,
How much?
just to see that one. Yeah, right there. That's cool. So, so what I like to explain, because I mean, now forgive me, you probably already said all this earlier. I mean, but I didn't hear it. So I'm just whoever
No, do
tuned
your
in
thing.
now that wasn't tuned in. But so this is something that people have to be mindful of is when you as a beginner people learn to read the glyphs and we're always told and teach that you read into the glyphs. So if the glyphs are facing to the right, you're going to read from the right to the left as if you're having a conversation with whatever the images are. And so you would read this from right to left because the glyphs are facing to the right. You see the birds, the owl, and all that stuff facing to the right. Even Malhepri himself, standing right there, he's facing to the right. So everything is facing to the right. So we read from right to left. But now here's the confusion that people have is that in the columns you're going to read from right to left, but the order of the columns themselves may be in reverse order, and that's called columnar retrograde. And so this text, like quite a few others, are in columnar retrograde. So although we read within the column from right to left, we're going to read the columns from left to right, though. So column number one is on the left, and that's where you get that top left corner. So just let everybody know that that's the beginning right there, at least of this sheet. So just so people will
Yeah.
understand the difference.
Oh, let me turn myself off the screen. I'm glad you said that because I made that mistake in my first reading. It was because I was looking at a crop of it, and my crop it only showed about maybe this much of the text. And so I actually looked at the birds and I started reading it over here when
Oh,
first
right, right.
investigating. But then when I looked at the better picture he's seen, I recognized exactly what you were talking about and corrected myself and started over here.
Yeah, and the biggest question I get is how do you know the difference? And I tell people that usually that comes from trial and error, though. Until people memorize that certain texts will do it. So usually portions of the Book of the Dead will do it, and underworld text and all that good stuff. But yeah, right there in red is the So what you okay? So we had the word seper, and I see Chris had put it in the oh no somebody answered it.
Me kind of thing.
Yeah, Emmy put it. Emmy put it there, and Chris had said seper, which means to reach. So, but now this is the word jedet, not the word jed to say, but it's jedet or jedut, which is the sayings
Okay.
or that which is said. So it's that which is said when kafet in this case is the word when.
Okay.
When
So
yeah, when and you got the Vegas pulled up, so
yeah,
you could look up and you'll see it. Kafet is
exactly. I'm about to try to do that. So you got XFT win.
yeah, the word when.
Mhm.
Like um the way it's used is the word when or according to or something like that. But in this
Yeah,
case
there
it'd
goes
be when.
win right there. It's just for the. Oh, I gotta make this big enough so people can see. It's written out a different way, but Kafet,
No,
as we
you should
see,
find it written the
the
way
right way. I will.
yeah.
Well, let me just blurb this in to make it easier. Well, there we have it. Kafet, but that's before.
In
Well, we
front
see
of
the root
there it
word
is right
here,
here.
and then it
It's
should
right
be
under
right
it.
under.
Yep.
Yeah, but they ain't showing the T, but nevertheless, we see when and according to. So when works better than according to since the next word is reach. Because
Yep.
you can't be like word said according to reach. But it's like recitations when someone reaches somewhere.
Yep. It says
Hmm.
that which is said when reaching sapir reaching and then we
Two.
had yep
So let me ask
towards
you a question.
yeah.
Sapere
Well
like
sapir
reaching to, or is this
sapir and
this
then
bottom R?
yeah towards.
All right, when
So
reaching towards. Now, let
yep.
me tell you before you said it, I couldn't translate this right, but I did get a stronghold out of this somehow. So let me see what you get out of this.
Yeah, that comes before that usually comes before a place. So yeah, and you see Ma'ati.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's the two hall the double hall of Mati.
Okay, there we have
So it's
it.
basically saying that which is said when reaching towards the double hall of Mati. So that's gonna be a whole thing that he gotta say when he enters those two halls.
So wonderful. Now, this is another part of parsing. We all seen the Ma'at who read the Ma'at here, but then you see the Ma'ati, and then we see the two ostrich feathers, which gives us judgment. But someone said to me that the two snakes are also a part of this at all times, uh, of this judgment or what have you.
Yeah,
Ma'ati.
yeah. It's a particular one because the word after that is poo. I think if you scroll down.
I was looking this right up, but I said peck because I thought this was a. I know this is a P, but I thought this was the K. I mean the X. KH.
Yeah, that might be because it's distorted for me a little bit, but it may be.
Okay. Let me see. My man took some time to come with a pretty accurate transliteration. He kind of agreed. If you can see here, he put the X sound or
Oh,
KH
okay.
sound. Okay.
No. I see it clear there. Yeah, it's the word P X capital A. So look that up. Paka.
Oh, PXA. I left out the A. Okay, PXA. Let me
PX
go
capital
back to
A.
that dictionary. See, so I don't know how much work has been done on this PXA, but I'm saying this needs to be like the next book or something. PXA. There's
I'm
plenty of
trying to
them,
find it
plenty
by
of words.
itself.
Excuse me. Oh, here it is with the kind of spelled exactly the same way, except it has this determinative. But it is spelled the same way it's spelled in the text. Let's see what determinative they give us in the text. Is this like a tear?
Nurture.
That's backwards though, right?
Yep.
Because over here is going this way. So that's interesting. Is that I mean, and they got the two lines at the bottom over here. And let me see another nature right here. Right here is no two lines at the bottom of this one.
Yeah, now that they
So
would. That's something probably something different.
yeah, this is probably something different. So let me see what Mill
I don't think that's
transliterated.
I don't think that's the Netra symbol, the R1. I don't think that's that.
Yeah, he got a blank right there too, as if he couldn't make
Yeah.
it. I see he got two. Yeah, just well, this is but just for the people, and I seen you was chilling, but I don't want to take over the show, but I wanted to get your opinion on some of this stuff, and even if I could set a time to get you to help chime in on some of this because it would make it cool if we
Well,
could be like, dang, it took us a month.
that first column is pretty much. I mean, it's that which is said when reaching towards the hall, the double hall of Ma'at, and then if you keep going, um,
Okay,
Paka is to split or to separate. So separating something. So that's questionable right there. But
hmm
separating something. Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, that whole you almost at the bottom of this one. You feel me? So that's cool. Separating something, and I think I see a suit in after here, a knee suit. So maybe this does have something to do with. I don't know. It just looks different, but if we think about it, I identified this knee suit or the suit plant, the T and the N, and I'll look at the transliteration, and I think he probably gonna have. No, he got nope. He got a reed leaf, a T, and ta. So I might be
Nah,
wrong
that's
with that.
I
Hmm.
don't know. Um,
Yeah, there you have it. And so for the people in the audience, this is part of the painstaking. Who gonna answer that for somebody?
yeah, that's kind of blurry. It could be a reed leaf though. You may be right because see, you see how the reed leaf right there, right there.
Right
See,
here.
see, you compare it to other ones.
But it's kind of blurry where it would have that dot, but it appears it had a dot like these other ones in that same space.
Yeah,
Except
it's like
this
faded.
line, right? This black line throwing things off. But is that a word? Let me see. Well, he must have transliterated this because it was a word. Ot with the land under it. Where my dictionary go? But yeah, ain't nobody else. Where the everybody else at?
I don't know. It's late, man. It's like two. You on the West Coast. You still cruising. You got
It's
like
11, 11:30.
we pushing 2:30 over here.
This is one of the hardest words to try to find in a dictionary because there's so many. Like they use at in English, so if you type at and it's a lowercase a and a t, that's not good for searching Vargas. You know what I'm saying? They're giving me back
Right.
11,000 entries, so I won't make no progress like that. But anyway, that's something I was partaking on, and
Nah,
that's what that is.
that's good. Yeah. See, if it was clear, whose image is that? That's your image.
This is an image taken by my man Jay Mill. Actually,
Oh, he
you
actually
feel me?
took it.
Yeah, he. This is his
Okay.
image. Yeah,
Okay, that's good. If it's high quality, I like to see
yeah,
that so we can
definitely. I
make
mean,
our
it's
smooth.
very like I'm zooming in from this, so you know what I'm saying. It's pretty good quality. Yeah, we could definitely go over these or whatever.
Yeah, I like to
Get
see that.
some exactly and do this work. Come on, dog. That's a wonderful book.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that yeah, I would definitely want to see that.
So let me ask you some on the subject that you were talking about when I came in here. How with how much confidence, 100%, 50, 90, are you asserting that a unk is a rope?
Oh, absolutely. It's an
Absolute
it's
100?
it's an image of a rope. Yeah,
Okay. I'm just saying. Just wanted to know
yeah,
how confident you were on that.
yeah. You got the Vigus up. Pull up Unc, and you'll see all of them associated with tying or binding. Like there's a word document for Unc. There's a and if you go back to the early Old Kingdom depictions of the Ankh, is clearly a rope. See, secular
Oh,
Ankh,
mm-hmm,
captives, living prisoners.
mm-hmm.
They're tied. Um, and really, what it means is that those who are stricken, but are alive, and they're tied, because you got people who die on the battlefield, and people who are left alive, and anyone who's an enemy who's left alive, that's the definition of a prisoner. But yeah, just keep going to Ankh and Ankh. You'll see the word for documents being Ankh. It'll show you a papyrus, which is the word majet. Um, the papyrus roll. Um, the word for oath, to take an oath, which is to tie or bind person figuratively to an action. It all has to do, and then the one for sandals.
Right
There's a
here.
sandal strap right there. Oh, and I left out the one for mirror.
I knew these was some sandals on the text. Look, that's hella funny, blood. I was just being joking, looking at the hieratic. You see these sandals?
Yeah, chabu.
Let me show you this text. I was like, them some sandals all along. It's in here.
Oh,
They really,
in that papyrus.
yes. And I just was like, look like some sandals to me, but I was joking. But they really was the cold part. If I could find it, damn. I ain't gonna spend too much time, but it just happened to be funny. But yeah, I go back to that. What you call it? I go back to that. So it was sand. So it was a rope. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like look at there's an oath. There's a word for oath right there.
Hmm.
The Ankh
Hmm.
is an oath. Captive
Captive
oath.
because he's tied.
Right, they're all tied with rope. An oath is to tie your words. It's a figure. It's an intangible object, but to tie your words to something. That's why even today on the streets, we say, "My word is my bond," like to bond yourself to a promise. That's a way of saying I promise.
Mm-hmm. Ankaui.
Ankh Tawi, yep. Yep. Ankh is a beetle. So there's many words for Ankh. So that have the Ankh in it. So, and then you have to remember too that the do you remember what the word for sarcophagus is?
On the bunk.
Yep, Neb Ankh.
Hmm.
And at one point, and I forget which period in ancient Egypt, the actual coffin was in the shape of an Ankh. Was in the
Mm.
shape like that.
I never seen that.
Not with the thing out, but in this
Oh, not with the arms out, but with
yeah, it
the
looks more
shape.
like
I feel you.
a shenu, and
Hmm.
they call it a Neb Ankh. People translate it as Lord of Life or whatever. That doesn't really make sense.
I thought it meant all lives. That makes more sense, but the all should be after the that
Yeah,
would
it'd be
be
Ankh
yeah,
Neb.
Neb. But still, it still kind of makes sense though. I'm like, all lives do go up in the bunk,
well,
even
well,
though it's true.
all all that was once alive.
You feel me?
Yeah, but it's it's the binding though. that's there. It's the protection. Cause the Ankh, remember the Shinu or the Ankh uh, was the protection as well. That's why they use it as an amulet. That's why people carry that bad boy around today. They literally use it as an amulet today, as a what do they call it, a talisman. People who walk around with those copper unks and stuff.
All right, I got another question for you since you're gonna come in and chill. Now I'm just interviewing you. So
Oh,
you
hold
are
up,
you?
Sean. I didn't know Sean was here. What's up, Sean?
I snuck in here, man. I snuck in here on
Yeah, I
y'all, man.
forget that you
Hold
be
on, let
coming
me
in
look.
under
What's up,
under
Sean? I'm
What up,
sorry
what
for
up,
Snow.
man?
flashing. Look, I
No, no,
couldn't
no. You
even.
was good,
Assassin.
bro. I was
I
tripping
couldn't even
because
hear y'all, blood. And so I was like, why ain't nobody saying nothing? And then
dude was still talking. You could
I,
hear us because he was talking.
I went back to the video, blood, and listened, and I was like, oh, they was talking. And I was like, why ain't nobody saying nothing? This some bullshit. I hung up, got
Oh
hella mad, like I was on a three-way call or some shit. But let me get so what's up?
Cool, man.
Let me see. Oh, that I was about to ask you, Ujau, about Sean. That's the funniest part. Right when you said, oh, we got Sean in here. But I was actually about to ask you, what do you think about that discussion if you were abreast to the discussion that's going on about ancient Africans in the Americas?
in the Americas? Nah, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not up on the conversation. But if you just were to ask me, ancient Africans in America, when? Like what?
You know how some out of
A hundred
some of the
thousand years ago.
And
studies say that Ivan
somebody
been
asked what
started, but how about that?
somebody asked what is your
Can I share
that
my
picture
screen
mean?
real quick? Can I share
What
my
was my
screen?
what?
Yeah, sure. Nah, so I think somebody asked what because you got an alien on your screen.
For real, y'all can see that? Oh, that's my
Yeah.
desktop. This just my computer is Alienware. That's
Oh
all.
yeah,
The
somebody
software I'm
boy,
running is.
you can't you can't show that and talk about Egypt at the same time, boy.
I know. Oh, they think I'm over here on something else. Yeah,
If I
that my
say, and then
computer is
and you know what's
Alienware.
funny? And what's funny is right when you showed that, you said, "Yeah, you on some Kemet and chill." So I'm gonna ask you a question, and so it seemed like you about to ask some alien questions,
I
and I'm
gotta
about to
put the
say,
glyphs back up.
I
Look.
said, "Oh shucks." All right, so Sean, your screen is up.
Okay. So, all right. This is what the reference is. Did you see this person right here?
Yeah, that's my
No, 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 no. Don't say who that is.
oh. All right, I'm
The
almost
person.
40.
Listen to this. Just listen to this.
Clay and compact earth. All right, son, I think I'm gonna end this. I got a lot. We can kind of talk. All right. But let me show you. Let me show you one more thing. For years, Eurocentric archaeologists have largely turned the other cheek when it comes to discovering artifacts from ancient Egypt. I'm just going to end it right there. But just right here, they found bodies over here that's connected to Africa. But go ahead, son. I want somebody to come.
What?
They found bodies over here that's connected to Africa. Here, they found bodies over here that's connected to Africa.
Now,
Oh
when I
man.
pulled up, when I investigated where he got this picture from, I found the picture. I found the source. Uh, and the source is from a sister who I tried to go and email, but when I tried to email her, she ain't under Atlanta Black Star anymore. Um, because it had everything to do with her claim. It was like 10 facts or 10 pieces of evidence that showed that Africans was in the Americas. And one of them was showing who you was just about to say, using his body to say that this person in a sarcophagus
Hmm.
was in the Americas.
Yeah, that's the dangerous. That's because because they show that mummy so much. That's how I know who it is. But it
Right. You can say it
that's
now because everybody know now.
yeah. My
Man,
hair. Yep. Peri, but Mahapri. That body was found in the Valley of the Kings, not in the Americas. I mean, come on, that's crazy. Like, who can support? Nobody can support that.
Yeah, well, his source is a guy by the name of Andrei Rosinski, and he has some faulty methodology, which only he can replicate that type of conclusion to come up with. Yeah, so it was a little
See, that's
sketchy, and
that's beyond faulty. That's no methodology. That's when you say methodology was absent. How
yeah,
can you
well,
how can you say a body that was found like thousands of miles up away was somewhere where it was not?
right.
That's that's just straight
All
up
right.
Magi, they
Got,
got
lying.
a question for you.
they got a what?
Yeah, so Magi in the chat, he says, "Where did you download that dictionary?" I don't know which
He's talking
dictionary you
about
meant.
Vigus.
Oh,
So
okay.
let's just share one of our resources. Uh, I hope he's talking about Vigus. He might
Yeah, he's
be
probably talking about
talking about
Mark Vegas.
that this dictionary.
The
And
Vegas
so
dictionary is
we will share. I will share with y'all. I know we probably use the same resources, but y'all ever
yeah,
use
just make sure they
Pyramid
get
Text?
the latest version of it.
2018.
Do y'all ever use the resources on Pyramid Text online? They
Yeah.
have,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they got a
I got
collection of resources. So what for the guy who's asking down here, they got text, tools, study. You see, I click text and tools more than
hold
anything.
let me make your screen bigger so they can't
Okay,
see that. All right, there you go. Go ahead.
yeah, and so here you click tools, and it's going to bring you to all kind of tools that'll be useful for getting to the glyphs. Here we see translations, charts, and you're looking for dictionaries,
Dictionaries.
right? So I think they, like Ujao was just saying, is there a more recent one than the 2018 one?
Nah, that's the most recent right there. It's a 2012, 2015, and then the most recent one's 18.
Now, word up. Now, notice that they're not just giving us that one that we like because we can search it. You can also get the Word Butch or whatever. Uh, and they recommend Thesaurus Lingua Egypti, which is where we go to check the primaries. And they got a bunch of other ones. So here's a demonic dictionary, but the dictionary I think he was asking for was this Middle Egyptian right here. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I tell people get them all. Get every dictionary, get a hand, even if it's in a foreign language. Get them all, even if you can't use them at the moment. I think I have them all. I got a whole folder of all dictionaries: French, Danish, German, all the English ones, um, handwritten, digitized, everything. Get them all. But the Mark Vigus is definitely the go-to one. I tell everybody as a beginner, definitely start with that one.
Hmm.
Yep, it's easy to
So let me ask
search
you
and find.
again. What about I ain't trying to pin you up your argument, but what's your stance on Ivan Van Sertima's work? I know
Oh
I'm all
no,
over the place, but still.
nah, I don't. I don't. I have never cited Ivan Van Sertima's work because I don't, and I don't cite Dr. Ben's work either. Like people who familiar with me, they know I never cite certain people because I don't. Um, because there's things in there that's just not right or needs updating and stuff like that. But to answer your question, nah, Ivan Van Sertima's work, he did a very good job at consolidating history and putting it together like in a journal format and stuff. But he's definitely, um, that stuff needs to be revisited. If he's using Ivan Van Sertima, the ancient Africans are in America, when? Like at what point? That's what I want to know. Cause they say everybody people think that the Olmecs are African. and they're not. I think everybody in the so-called conscious community at one point believed the Olmecs are black Africans. And they were here before Columbus and all that kind of stuff. Nah, I'm not really I'm not too a fan. Like I commend for all the good hard work and stuff like that, but I would have to walk through that and pinpoint all the things that are wrong. And that's a whole job. I haven't done that yet. But just the general claims and things. Hope y'all can still hear me. I don't know why I thought.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, yeah, just the popular claims and stuff like that. I've already found those not to be what people think it is. Nah, cause I don't see the evidence. Like, where the evidence? Where's the evidence? We gotta follow the evidence. I see you got Gardner.
Oh, I just shared that because this could have been another dictionary that the brother was asking, and luckily enough, I found it by googling some different. I googled hieratic three dots, and it took me to a source that I was like, oh, I ain't seen this online in a while. So if the same person who was looking for Gardner's sign list in the PDF can Google the same thing, and he'll be taken to this website where you could download the PDF of Gardner. I just want to add that.
Yeah, Gardner. I tell people get everything, man. Get everything you can hold your hand on. Like, don't discriminate. I have everything. Like, people don't like Budge. Get it anyway. People don't like this. Get it anyway. Now I will tell people to get everything, but at the same time, so you people don't get confused, there is like a rhyme or reason to navigate through certain texts. Like, you're not going to jump off as a beginner and jump into the water buck or certain texts. You're just not going to do it. You shouldn't do it. That's why people walk around confused. So I try to tell people, how to go. It's levels to it. Definitely levels to it.
I got hella frivolous ass questions that be in the back of my head. Do you pronounce patah with T, ta, or patah? I say patah because it ain't Greek. It's the Greeks who leave off the P before their name. Let me ask y'all, is it patah or ta?
Well, I say it as like the standard convention, which is patah. Yeah, I pronounce the P. But what I would like to see is how it is rendered in contemporary languages. Like, how we got the Amarna letters or the Akkadian correspondences where we could see Egyptian terms in other languages based on how it sounded to those people. So it would be interesting of how they did patah.
I think
Like,
we
we
can
could
see
see.
that because Wiki be listing the cuneiform. So let
Yeah,
me
it would be
see.
interesting to do that. Some people say fatah, like it's
No,
like the Fatiha. People say patah is really Fatiha, which means the opener.
they have a reconstruction, and even in the Greek, it wouldn't be the. I don't think it's the P sound that you leave off because they got it pi ta in the Greek, but they don't have the cuneiform.
Oh, okay. Well, no, they reconstructed the Egyptian as Ptah.
Okay, yeah.
The I is that vowel.
Okay, I see. This is the ancient Greek. But what is this?
That's
A pie, right?
Yeah, that's P,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
Pathai, like.
I just wanted to
But
know.
yeah, but the Greek though, see, I would like to see it in cuneiform, like how we can see Tutankhamun's name, um, and other names in the Semitic languages. See how they rendered it. That would be interesting. But I say Ptah. I hear people say it both ways. I hear people say ta, pata, and either way. So we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Pata,
I know. I just be wonder.
pata, pata. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. But now, people have to understand who listening that all of our pronunciations are all tentative. Like, nobody should ever claim that this is how the ancient Egyptians pronounced any of this.
You're
And
right.
if and
You're right.
and what I was gonna say is that if people were so caught up on pronunciations, then I always tell people to go learn Coptic because you got living people who still speak Coptic, so at least people can hear it. You can actually YouTube and search Coptic Orthodox Coptic Church. They got Coptic lessons on YouTube where people can hear it, Coptic being spoken. But when I hear it being spoken, it sounds very, very Arabic-ish in terms of the feel and the tonations of all that stuff.
Oh well, they just led us back to something that we didn't think about. Hoot ka pata
Yeah.
is will give us we'll know how Greeks said it, but since it came back to uh Egypt, I always I want a linguist to transliterate, show me how they got Egypt out of Hoot ka pata.
Yeah, I gotta find my notes because I had an hard argument, man, years ago, and there's a chain of how that was done because it's really Aegyptos, Aegyptos, or Aegyptos in Greek, and it was for those three words, Hut, Ka, and Ptah. So you look up Hut and
Toast.
then
Toast is pata.
uh Gip. So they put the P Gip, Giptos. They put it all together, but the P on the Gip is Ka, and then P. It all runs in together. I need to find it because there's a trace. There's the best trace that I found for that because it's also found in linear. I want to say linear B or something like that. Yeah, see, you see how you see I and then Giptos
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Yeah,
Aleph,
but but
well, Alpha.
literally, like, does "ie" mean hoot? Because phonetically, I don't know how you get "ie" out of hoot. So maybe the meaning, I
Well,
don't
well,
know.
well, well. Now think about it. Aether, which is Hathor, or Hut Heru. So Hut is Aether in Greek as well.
Okay,
So
so yeah, hoot is I
so
there.
well, Hut Heru is Aether. They say Hathor.
Okay,
We say Hathor, but it's Aether in Greek, and that's where we get Hathor from. And but in the Egyptian is Hut Heru.
mm-hmm. I see. So I see the PTOS could correspond with the PTH and Pata. I'm seeing it a little bit more, but it's just still kind of weird to me. Like
Like
who
look up watch compare cause see now in Egyptian we can compare the first word Hut, right? So look up
mhm.
Hathor.
In which dictionary?
Uh
On Wiki or
yeah,
in
just to
Vegas?
see if they show when they show the Greek, just
Okay.
anywhere where it's gonna show the Greek for Hathor.
Oh yeah.
I think the Wikipedia show it.
Mm-hmm. Hutor. Let's see. Ancient
Yep.
Greek. So it
See
is I. It starts with
I
the A
Thea.
and the
See
TH,
you
huh?
got that theta. So I
This is
Thea.
ATH, huh? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. So that makes sense then.
I Thea.
So that means the hoot to them was off.
Right. Right. So I Thea. We say Hathor though, yeah. But it's I Thea. That P in Greek is really R. So
Mm-hmm.
it look like a P does. Um, so yeah, I mean it makes sense. But I would have to find my notes, man. That was like years ago. I had to find that. That's like a good thing to revisit though, just to kind of show it.
Hmm.
Look out for
Sean,
that.
where you at?
I'm right here, bro. Listening and learning.
Yeah, so
I'm
so they
learning.
actually having a whole so who's having this conversation that there was ancient Africans? Like, but what time period? Like, what
That's
time?
Nah,
Sean debate. That's the debate Sean in right now. But
yeah.
he seems to side with the things that you're saying.
Oh,
Jeremiah
okay. Yeah,
Jeremiah did a presentation
but
on Sunday.
I was hoping that you were not on the side that that
You know,
Africans.
I couldn't be. But but when he starts his presentation off, he starts his presentation off by quoting David Imhotep and talking about
Oh,
that there was Africans in the Americas 100,000 years ago, and the
nope.
pygmies followed 70,000 years ago. So
Where's the
immediately that
evidence?
was an issue,
Yeah, where's the evidence for that?
right? And then you reject DNA and all of that, and then to say that, and then try to play on people's emotions and say that you trying to say that black people couldn't do this, like Africans couldn't do this. They did all these great things, but they couldn't get a boat and then cross the Atlantic. You know
Sure
what I
didn't.
mean? Right.
They sure didn't.
And
Africans are not superheroes.
right. And
We
he
watched too many
couldn't
movies.
seem to fathom that. And so, I was just being honest when I went over there, man. I was being as calm as I'm talking like right now. I was like having a conversation with him, like, okay, JJ, let me tell you why I'm here, right? I see that you're finna do a presentation. So I'm letting you know that I'm gonna be critiquing how you start the presentation, what you're gonna be doing, and all of that. And then I told him what I was gonna be looking for. I said I'm gonna be looking for, if you have research questions, I'm gonna be looking at your methodology. And then I'm gonna be looking for your evidence and your sources. I'm gonna be critiquing that. So I told him that, and then I told him that I would leave the chat to listen live. So I left. He told me to stay on the panel, but I didn't. I wanted to listen live and not really interject while he was playing a video. So he then opened his panel up, and the other people that supported him, they began to talk. Then it came to me. He wanted to hurry up and rush me, but I basically provided my critique of the first quarter of his presentation, and I could tell he was taking offense of it. You know what I mean? Because you have someone that's scrutinizing the way that you're actually doing something, but it wasn't to disrespect him. It was to show him where his logic was flawed, and where his methodology needed work, and his presentation needed to be reorganized. And
I just want to know what evidence did he provide
none.
that
He quoted David
Africans were
Imhotep.
1,000, 100,000 years ago? Well, what evidence did David Imhotep provide?
None. He did no cross referencing.
Yeah, that's the end
I
of the
got some
discussion.
evidence.
You say you got some evidence?
You know, I always got. I could take any side of any argument. What y'all want to do, huh?
Yeah, I
Because
want to
I took
see.
debate classes. You just got to pick a subject and argue a side. I'm about to beat y'all up with one, and I hope they ain't watching this video because they're gonna try to abuse this. I know
But
some of
see,
y'all good enough to answer the questions I'm about to pose, but look, wow, hit you with one, huh? A primary. Now, in this
Tale of the
tale, an
Taurate cannon.
Egyptian tale, let me tell you what happened. We got a brother who go out in his boat to sea. First of all, the Nile ain't the sea. He
mhm,
ain't in the Red Sea. He must have hit the Mediterranean. He finds some strange land that had all type of shit. See, told you I got sources. Now tell me why this couldn't be America. It ain't, dude. Just don't take me seriously, but keep it a buck. They should at least be coming at y'all like this. The tale begins with the following sailor announcing his return from a voyage at sea. He is
yep.
returning from an apparent failed exhibition, and he is anxious about how the king will receive him. But he talk about, look, when he got there, it was all kind of good shit. Look, look. But it was an island. So what? Still, this should be fun. The sailor then described how his ship, manned by 120 sailors, sank in the storm and how he alone survived and was washed up to the Americas. Nah, it really say on the island. I'm gonna leave that alone though. That's the closest they could get to a source though.
Nah, I hope that people like that actually listen and try to use that, because that'll be eaten up like with the quickness. Because all you gotta
That'd
do
be
is
hella
look
funny.
at the sea in the text and know it's not the Atlantic Ocean or anything like that.
So what sea was it?
The Red
I
Sea.
mean, are you saying we could look and find out?
Yeah, we could find out.
I think
We could
it's
find
gonna
out.
be the Mediterranean, bruh. And you could get out of the Mediterranean into the Atlantic, bruh.
Yeah, you could, but there's no Egyptian record of America at all. People actually try to make a Minta or a
America.
Minette America
Yeah, that's
because it's
crazy.
west.
I don't nah, I definitely know that you got I mean, come on now. Scholastically, I probably wouldn't mount that argument, but it's something inside of me that don't necessarily want to all the way through not of Egyptians, but throw the possibility of African travel by sea to other places out just because we can't source it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but see, it's best, man. Number one rule is to follow the evidence. No evidence, then we just got to admit the weakness of any speculation or conjecture. It's baseless. It has no basis in evidence. And if we could just admit that, we could talk all day. But the paramount the prevailing arguments are always those arguments that have evidence based. Period. Everybody knows that. So
Right.
if
Well, we
people
have,
have any evidence, mm,
but we also have evidence for like when they make the claims about Mali and the West Africans trying to travel to the New World because of Mansa Musa. We have the record that shows that that story was first told not in West African stories like people claimed it, which he claimed it, but the authors that he was using claimed it. But the story was actually told in Egypt to the king, the Arabic king at that time. So here it is. You have a West African in Mansa Musa trying to upstage everyone else with this immense amount of gold, and he's having a conversation with a king, telling him how he came to be the ruler of Mali. Really, he's like on the edge of a usurper because there's a missing link in his story because he never tells what happened to the other person outside the fact that yeah they got on the boat and went to go travel somewhere. But then when you go and you look at all the if you in UNESCO, I forget, I mean in the in those 8 volume sets, there's a story in there that tells you about how uh, West Africans as a whole feared sea travel. And then when you go pull the source from a history of West Africa, the story appears in the history of West Africa as well. And they talk about how people feared sea travel and those cross currents and things of that nature. So those stories are coming from internal sources that we have along the coast of West Africa and not external sources, which would be the Arabs and everybody writing their perspectives. So that's the only documented internal sourced evidence that we have at the time to talk about that. We don't have griots telling us that people was creating canoes or boats and traveling out to sea. We don't even have any evidence that would show that they had boats with sails or anything like that. In West Africa, they only had canoes that could travel off the shorelines as far as to where did they pick up slaves in Senegambia, right off the Senegal coast. Um, y'all know this place. I can't think of it right now, but in that distance, it had to be real close to the shoreline. If a boat went out beyond that shoreline and it got closer to that Atlantic, the Atlantic would take over it, and it was a wrap. And people feared that. They feared swimming. So it would take an immense amount of evidence to prove that these people knew how to sea travel and when to travel, because if you go during the wrong time of the year, those oceanic currents are going to swallow you up, and the weather itself is going to swallow you up. So I played an actual video showing people who traveled the Atlantic via boat, but this boat had way too much technology. It was a group of 4 people. They had storages where they had like 1 million pounds of food, water, and other supplies for them to make it all the way across the Atlantic. These people were paddling in 2 hour shifts, 24 hours a day. So, you know, 12 hours they paddling a piece and then trying to take a 2 hour nap. So they'll go 2 hours and then try to get off and rest for 2 hours, come back 2 hours, rest for 2 hours. They were on rotations like that between the 4 of them. And the lady let me use a video. I even talked to her in a correspondence email, and it took them 57 days, and they went from the closest point of Africa to an island in the Caribbeans, which was 3,000 miles, and it took them 57 days. And they said once they got to the equator, it was super hot. And as soon as they crossed the equator, they ran into storms. It took them 9 hours to travel 4 miles
But they
in that
did it
storm.
though, right?
Yeah, they did it in
Were they the
57
first
days.
ever?
No, 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 no. This is 2018. So it happened in 2018, and it was like a gang of them who tried this from like the tip of an African coast to this island that was off in the Caribbean somewhere. It was really like less than 3,000 miles, but they did it in these souped up technological boats. They had electricity. They were using they had detectives and all of that, so they knew which way to travel. They knew where they had to go. They couldn't venture too far off right or too far off left. You know, they had stuff telling them how to defeat the waves, all of that. But then they said they had at one point during that travel, it was really volatile for them to survive. They were all up trying to survive the night because they were running into waves that was really taking them down through there. And they said they had a really hard time doing it. And but they did it. They did it in 57 days. There's one dude who did it in 28 days, but this is more modern stuff. But we're talking about a canoe that's not equipped the way these boats were equipped or had the technology that they had. You know what I'm
I
saying?
hear you. I hear what you're saying, and I can't. I mean, like I said, all the evidences and they would have to present something that makes one say, "Oh, we got something." But if you don't got no evidence, just a hunch, then that's crazy.
Yeah, there's different degrees and tiers of evidence, circumstantial and all the way up and down the ladder of evidence of strength. And that's what people gotta understand: the strength, the weight of evidence, and how you weigh it, and which ones matter to what points. But people definitely can't use a shipwreck sailor though. Hope they never do that. I hope somebody do
That's
try to
why
do
I
that.
was laughing. Oh, I had another one. I said Noah's Ark.
Oh
See
yeah.
how you gonna act like all the boats
That
was hella
came up.
small when we had Noah's Ark? Don't tell me that really came up.
It did. It came up. A sister during one of during the intermission when he first stopped the video, a sister was on there going talking about Solomon and the Bible and the whole 9 yards, and said, "I don't know why people can't think that we can't build boats. We built Noah's Ark." They said all of that on there.
See, the fact that it's framed as if someone's saying we can't build boats, that's a whole pseudo argument. It's also a pseudo argument to act like it's a knock at the African ingenuity. You want to leave Europe and shit in those time periods. You want to leave these other places. You want to find a new world because of the feudal systems that were going on at that time or what have you. You feel me? Who was wanting to just really get up and leave paradise as it was called? Like who was trying to leave Egypt? Really? I'm just talking about Kemet. Most people was trying to come to
Come
Egypt.
to Egypt. Facts.
You
Yep.
know, so I'm saying thinking about some dudes who was there, just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go someplace else just for no reason. Like people hit the open ocean for a reason, and so I'm just saying, it's just like the need for them to hit to the Americas was there when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Dealing with what
and
they was dealing with.
that was my point. Africans really had no reason to leave where they were. They weren't fascinated with all this trying to discover stuff. Hell, they on a continent full of natural resources for themselves. They're in abundance. What we leaving to for what? What do we need? They got everything that they got. They trading with each other. You know what I mean? And then when they are trading with North Africa or people coming across the Sahara, I mean they're doing trade that way. If they're going anywhere, they're going in those distances to trade. Central and South Africa and North and Northeast Africa, they're doing business to trade. They're not traveling to try to go to Italy, Spain, and you know Russia or all these other places. You know what I mean? Like they wasn't
They
even
didn't even
into
have a
that.
concept.
Everybody in West Africa wasn't going to make no Hajj either. They weren't going to Mecca.
There was no concept of a continent like how we understand it today.
Right.
Land masses that we call continents obviously existed in ancient Egyptian times, but they didn't have a concept of continental boundaries like that, like we do today. They just didn't do that. There's no Egyptian text that will hint to America or the Americas. Nobody went to America, came back, and documented. So it's not that Africans couldn't do it or any human being couldn't do it because we do it, but the evidence is missing. So it's it's like a quick end to a discussion, and so some people want to discuss it.
I know we never. I know it's not on our syllabus for trying to learn how to read the glyphs or nothing, but has anybody ever just in their free time tried to take a look at what they called hieroglyphs in the Grand Canyon or whatever?
Oh yeah, man, I used to get in those arguments. That stuff is forged, fake. Even the artifacts they say they found show a picture of Osiris statue in the Grand Canyon. Even the in Australia somewhere they found some glyphs, and that turned out to be
For a
messed up.
forgery too?
Yeah,
Like, think about it. Any of us in this chat can go someplace, pick up a rock, and start scribbling some glyphs into. I could take a trip to the Grand Canyon right now and go write a whole text, bruh, on the wall, scribble, scribble. They're gonna know that it was recent, but after a while, it will age. You know what I'm saying?
right.
And somebody gonna be like, "It's glyphs in the Grand Canyon." I always thought
Yeah, that's
about doing
crazy.
that. I was like, I gotta lithograph something somewhere before, what I'm saying?
That's what people do. There's a lot of that going on because people are manufacturing arguments. They're manufacturing evidence to support bogus arguments to save face, and some people actually pay money to do that. Like the guy that found some things in South America or something is the whole story behind some crystal skulls and stuff and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if y'all familiar with all of that. Um, but what's fascinating to me though are the stone structures where it looks like these blocks are were poured like cement as opposed to like chiseled in blocks and then placed. Now that's worth the conversation. Like how was that done? And there's a theory or hypothesis I should say that the ancient Egyptians even used cement technique, pouring cement. Well, I mean, what we call it cement today, but not the same exact material, but in that same method.
Something liquidy that would turn to stone, basically.
Yeah, and it's a good. I mean, it's a hypothesis, and it's a good video about it. And I haven't seen an equal pushback on it. So some to look into. Something to look into. They're still trying to figure out how the pyramids were done. So I mean, think about it. If the pyramids didn't exist, like still standing today, but let's say there was a carving and a description of it though, so we knew it once existed. How many of us in modern times would believe that they did it? We wouldn't believe that they did it. If if the Great Pyramid of Giza, the biggest one, the Great Pyramid at Giza, if that was described in very detail, like how many stones, how much they weighed, how tall it was, how big it was at its base, and you know the angle of the incline, if all of that was like detailed and documented on in Egyptian papyrus somewhere, but the structure no longer exists. Let's say the pyramid was damaged and it was just done. It wasn't even there. A lot of people would just not believe that was a true structure. They would look at that text and say, "Oh, this got to be some satire or something." I mean, think about it, because it's there and people don't believe the Egyptians did it. They wanna say aliens did it, or they use sound waves and all this other kind of stuff, the alien technology to
But
build
that
it.
argument supports biblical archaeology that ain't there, kinda.
What? Oh, the alien stuff.
No, the argument about if the pyramid wasn't there, we wouldn't believe it ever existed. So what
But
about the Tower of Babel and shit like that?
yeah, well, see, the difference of the Tower of Babel is the description. They describe it reaching God in heaven.
But God, I feel you, yeah. And it's only left to us. We would, yeah, I feel you. It's different because it's left to us in stories and shit, rather than left to us on a piece of archaeology, which I think you were proposing
Yeah, I'm
about
saying, yeah,
pyramid.
if there was a papyrus that described the work crew, how long it took, how much each stone weighed, how many stones it was in total, how high, at the incline, broke it all down, we would be like, but it didn't say how it was done. It just say the materials and that it existed. We wouldn't believe that it existed because right now people can't figure out how it was done, but because you can see it and it's standing, it it makes people continue to wonder, like, man, how was it done? So years and years, decades have gone by, that people are still trying to figure out how it was done.
Well, how many of the wonders of the world do you really accept as being a real thing?
Oh, pretty much all of the wonders of the world, because that's how they became.
Oh, you think they was real? Like there was one called the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Oh, we had to look them up because I don't forgot how
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. That'd be
what
cool
they
to
all
do.
were. Yeah, what they all were. Um,
That'd be cool to do. Let me see.
Seven wonders of the ancient world or something like that.
Let me see.
But I was gonna say something I forgot. Oh, but what's interesting is people don't put the same effort in how they built the temples. Because what people are sleeping on is okay, the pyramids are the attraction because that's just it's the shape of a triangle. People don't know what the purpose was. Okay, it's pyramid. The word mirror is the word tomb. So we're like, okay, it's a tomb, but no bodies were found in it, and people are just speculating, right, because of its size. But the blocks of stone, there are equal weighted blocks in temples, in the columns, in the ceilings, and stuff like that. Like, how was the columns carved to be perfect plants, and why, and this and that? Like, people, like, I don't hear that conversation enough. I mean, people over there talk about it here and there, but not enough. People don't wonder how the temples were built, especially Waset temple at Waset,
Hmm.
Luxor, Ipit Sut that big grand temple with all the different parts and stuff. Like, come on, man. That's when you see an overhead shot of that, you like, man, how was that done? People don't really wonder about that.
I know.
It wasn't as tall, but that's some amazing stuff.
All these other wonders seem pseudo anyway. They're just
Oh, they
trying to
are.
have something like the pyramid. But the question arises, if we don't have the monument anymore, but we got various descriptions of it, will we believe it's true or not? We asked that about the pyramid. Well, they got the Hanging Gardens of Babylon from the 6th century BC, which was supposed to be some gardens from the sky or something. But I think they was just biting off Hatshepsut's temple. But anyway, we got the Temple of Artemis, which I know nothing about. Statue of Zeus at Olympia. A mausoleum at Halicarnassus, and a Colosseum. I don't know nothing about these Greek shits, and it's apparent that four of these wonders of the world, besides Pharaoh's lighthouse at Alexandria, which is also supposed to be another one that lasted up until 1480 AD. But they're none of the only one that's still here basically is
Is the pyramid?
the pyramid. So that's the real wonder. But the question is, do you believe the other ones exist? Do you believe there was? Let's tap in on it because we don't even know enough about them to know if we believe them.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
heard about
Hanging
the Hanging
Gardens of Babylon.
Gardens.
Yeah,
So I guess the first question is how do we come to even know to even call it a wonder of the world? Like what sparked the discussion in the
I
first place?
know. I know. Great question. Who says what the hell is a wonder of the world? Like, is there
Stonehenge gonna be a
some?
wonder of the world in the future.
What is?
Stonehenge. I mean that's
Do you
Stonehenge.
think?
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Nah, that's not gonna be no wonder of the damn world. Huh?
They're gonna
Fuck
wonder
that.
how those faces carved in the rocks like that.
That's disgusting. And so that's what a wonder of the world actually is, huh? You wonder about this. Everybody wonder how they did it.
It's really a nice way of saying they don't know how it was done.
Oh well, I was trying to
In the
look
future,
for.
they're gonna wonder how people like young Pharaoh was allowed to be so pseudo.
I know
That's gonna be the wonder. We inventing wonders right now.
the
Pseudo
wonder
is
of the
gonna be the new
world
wonder.
is how is people thinking three God is something.
Yeah, that's a mess right there. But but
That's the
but
most mess.
I've never seen that before. I've
Them
never seen
young
that before.
sisters.
I've never seen that entire dynamic.
So let me give you this real quick. Descriptions in classical literature. There are five principal writers whose descriptions of Babylon exist in some form today. These writers concern themselves with the size of the hanging gardens, their overall design and means of irrigation, and why they were built. Josephus speaks on the hanging gardens as he quotes a description of the gardens by Barbarossa or Barossus, whatever, a Babylonian priest of Marduk. And so, as far as we got people talking about them at least. Do we really think that it was some hanging gardens in Babylon?
Yeah, I don't know because the if people have a hard time just differentiating between figurative and literal stuff also because Jesus walking on water would be a wonder of the world.
I just
Um,
was asking anyway, just having some late night convo. Sean, you done fell asleep?
Sean adding more slides to his
Nah,
Afro
nah, man.
American.
I was somebody had bought a book, so I was printing off their stuff, man. I was listening to y'all. When y'all get to
I'm about to
going,
add
man,
some
I just
more.
shut up and listen.
I'm about to add some more slides, boy. About to show some
Nah,
Zulu,
nah, nah. I ain't put
some
no. I
magi
ain't put no
archers
presentation.
in the Central America.
What
Nah,
about the Anunnaki? Don't have me start. It's late night.
They gonna tie in the magi with the word Maya. The Y is really a J. The Y
How
is really a J.
long?
The Maya
For,
is really the magi. That's why they disappeared because they went back over there to East Africa.
for how long did you think the Anunnaki story was true?
Oh, nah, Cause
Never?
see,
Not two
nah.
years.
You said not 2 years.
Not 1 year, not in the New Wabian days. You know you have to be on some Anunnaki.
Nah, now the Anunnaki. What here's the thing people gotta understand, boy, and you gotta anybody who is or was in Wapian will know exactly what I'm saying. York taught about the Anunnaki, but we were building everything Egyptian. Like we didn't build anything that was Sumerian or Akkadian or Babylonian. Nothing. Everything was Egypt in terms of what we were doing, but the doctrine focused on the Anunnaki. So that was all Zechariah Sitchin stuff. And it was a segue from leaving the Bible because if you
Hmm.
read the book of Genesis, it mentions Tuhu and Buhu as the void on the face of the deep, and he compared that to Tiamat and Apsu, who are deities, who are earth deities, and the deep sea, being smashed in by Nibiru, aka Marduk, and the whole cosmogony. That was the whole thing. And so I didn't take it. It was figurative in my head, in my mind.
I believed it for about 2 years. And it was
That
fun
that it was
watching.
literal. That was literal.
Yeah, I thought that. I mean, because I was just getting introduced to this. This is all around the Y2K shit and stuff.
Mm.
You know, remember there was this stuff called
Yeah, yeah.
Nibiru, and it was this. These was the first YouTube pseudo channels. I thought they was real. They used to be talking about Nibiru, Nibiru's rising, and it's circling. It's gonna come back for 2K. Then there was 2012 after that. By the time they was talking the 2012 shit, I had more knowledge. But the first time when I was talking about that, I completely believed it.
But
For two
see,
years.
I think that people who were close to York will have a different perspective from like the average member, because York used to tell us. I was around when York said that Nibiru blew up, like the ship Nibiru, the mother ship Nibiru, the main Nibiru that everybody talked about. It blew up. He said it blew up. But yet people, even the Wabians, were still waiting for it to return in the year 2003, and it comes every 10 years on the third of the decade. So 2003, 2013, 2023, you know, 1993, it comes on the third. I mean, the third year. And its last time was supposed to be 2043, and then it's never returning. And they had supposed to keep rotating, keep coming back on an orbit called a sham, or am, or shar. Every 25,000 years it comes, or every 3,600 years. All of that stuff, man. See, where I come from, when my background, I researched like immediately when all that stuff was being talked about. Zachariah Sitchin pop up, the Earth Chronicles. I still got them to this very day. I got all of Zachariah Sitchin's books,
Me
all
too.
of them.
I got them the 7 book series I don't got all of them. I got the 7 book series.
I got the Lost Book of Inky, or whatever it's called. I got them all. I got the Earth Chronicles. I got all that stuff. All that stuff, man. It's just nah.
So when
It
he
was
started addressing Metal Nature in that book series is what led me to finally start reading the glyphs. This is probably about 2009, 2000. maybe 2008, and I was like, this shit can't be true. And why am I letting him tell me what's in the glyphs?
Who's
If you think,
Sitchin?
mm-hmm,
Oh yeah,
he did a lot of Sumeriology, but when you get to about book number 4, I think there was, he started talking about Asar and stuff and making
yeah,
a lot
and
of
Baal
yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
Baal Asar, Baal Hadad is really uh um uh not Inky but Enlil and Lord of the Sky and all this, and how's a battle between Inky and Enlil, and they
Mm-hmm.
made peace, and where they made peace was in a place called peace, and in the Semitic language it became Salam, and then you have Daru Salam, which became Jerusalem and Jerusalem, and all this and that. I remember all of that stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was great. I mean, it was great, great information, great stories.
A good movie or something, right?
Definitely a good movie. I'm surprised a movie hadn't been made for it for real. I'm
I
really
know.
surprised on that because Inky, because remember Anu is the father of all of them. You got Ninlil, Ninti. Man, listen, boy. If y'all, if you open the Black Book and the holy what's called the holy tablets, you would just see so much stuff that if you look back or you'd be like, man, like I'm glad
Give
I
me
ain't drink the
how
Kool
people
Aid.
believe in this.
Yep. Um,
That was before the internet, though. And so the wealth of knowledge, even if it was wrong, the wealth of stuff that he knew something about that was something, you know what I'm saying, was
yeah.
even impressive. Like
It
you know,
yeah, it couldn't have any of that effect now because the internet was back was out because we used to argue on CompuServe and AOL, but it was nowhere nothing like this. There's no online dictionary, no online encyclopedia like Wikipedia, none of that stuff. Google, no Google Scholar, no ResearchGate, no academia.edu. None of these things existed um, back then, but the internet did. But that's the thing. It you couldn't do that now. You couldn't start from scratch and do that now. Now it
hmm,
wouldn't survive. It wouldn't survive. It'd be laughed at, which is
yeah,
amazing to
but
me. I'm surprised people like so many people still believe a lot of that stuff.
that shit led me straight to the truth, though. I mean, I'm happy I went through those stages because I couldn't take it no more. And so I was like, I
Yeah,
gotta really, really change and really, really learn this shit for myself.
yeah. What's interesting, like I said, in terms of that organization, everything was Egypt in terms of structures and buildings, but the doctrine and what was Q&As about was all Anunnaki stuff. The creation of the solar system, how the Earth was 3 times or twice the size it is now. A ship broke, smashed into it 4 times. One creating the moon called Kingu, and Luna was the deity who ruled over. That's why it's called Lunar. For lunatic, he was a lunatic because he tried to explode a bomb and all this other kind of stuff. Um, but what I'm getting at is that while we were building Egyptian things and seeing the glyphs and stuff, mimicking image, pictures and carving them, nobody could read them at the time. Nobody could read the glyphs. York never read them. Um, Even when asked, he was like, "Nah, that's for you all to do. You all are, that's what you all are to do later in the future." So all that stuff, man. But people still into that, whether they part of that organization or not. They into that. But you got Anunnaki derived from An. Yep, the Sumerian god of the sky. And Enki was the lord of the earth. Enlil was the lord of the sky. And then you have the Anunnaki breaks down as Anu, Na, and Ki, which is the 50 those from heaven to earth in 50s, something like that. All that stuff, man. I'm telling you, That's crazy.
It led me to Egypt because when he had to start talking about the gold that they mined, he couldn't talk
Yeah.
about Sumerian areas. And so he
Nah.
had to be like going into Kemet at that point. But I don't want to have people mad because we don't be talking about no damn Anunnaki and shit. I'm just saying, if they be like, what the hell kind of conversation is this? But
Nah.
this what
They
led me to
they
the glyphs.
they compare Anunnaki to the Neteru, and they compare them one for one. So Anu would be Ra or Atum Ra. Um, I forgot Inky and Enlil who they would be. It was some kind of pairing up that was done, an attempt to pair things up, of who was who, and then
Hmm.
they went to Abzu to mine for gold. That's supposed to be South America. I mean South Africa. They went all the way
Hmm.
down to South Africa to mine for gold
Hmm.
and bring it back to use. So man,
Yeah. I
to
see.
and that now check this out. So let me ask you, why were they mining for the gold?
Mm, I forgot. They needed it on their planet for something, right?
Yeah, the ozone layer depleted, so they had to build an
Oh yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah, that's right. That shit
And
hella silly.
they had to build a dome out of gold.
Yeah, that's pseudo. But he
and
made hella money being pseudo.
yeah, and then to kind of make it more believable, talk about the space shuttle, how the space shuttle is lined with gold and special metals and stuff. When it's going through orbit to block the sun's rays and make a re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere.
He
And
had
it's
to make up. He had to make up the part about the ozone layer on another planet.
yep. He even named the continents on the risk. It was a galaxy numbered. Mind you, the galaxies are numbered. It's a 19th galaxy. The eighth planet, the eighth planet in the 19th galaxy that has three suns, Utu, Apsu, and Shemish. The three
You remember,
suns.
you remember them teachings, boy.
Yeah, all that. Nah,
That's
it's it,
crazy.
it- it's fascinating. But when people ask me, do I believe it or did I believe it? People don't. People that know me, they know that I was different. Like some people got mad, and they
Yo,
didn't know they didn't know how I could be so close, but yet not like them. I mean, not like totally absorbed all into that. I'm like,
yeah.
man, just be
This
real,
is a
man.
wonderful deal. My daughter looking at me like I'm waking her up, so I'm about to stop talking on this late night over here because she got
Yeah,
school
yeah,
in the
man. It's
morning.
it's 3:30. Yeah, I'm about to read a couple of these comments and I'm about to be out.
Word, I'll
So
be around. I'm about to keep on watching and listening. Keep it up as long as you can go because people enjoy the shit. But all right,
all
thanks,
right,
thanks for
let me go
letting me
back. All
build.
right, I appreciate you coming through. Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta definitely tackle that Pappers though.
yeah, that's
That's
word
cool.
up. I'm gonna be
All
on
right,
it every day. All right,
okay
peace.
then. Hotel.
Hotel.
All right, let me go back in some of these things. I'm gonna try to scroll up and see what I can see. All right, we got Pan African Designs is in the building. Yeah, it was an Arab K or something was the name of it. They give they gave Africans full credit. Okay, so that's another conversation. Um, Majay, you guys are underestimating how dumb other humans can be. Till this day, some people don't even believe that the Apollo mission to the moon was real. Yet all the technical data are open source, etc. Well, yeah, man. Unfortunately, that's true. There's some people out there. Um, I'm trying to see. Those aliens keep throwing what? Oh, keep throwing them back. I'm trying to going down. Ramza says all this info age and most 2022 African Americans can't build a log cabin. There's some practical things that we missing. Um, Okay, Majay says I might catch some heat in the chat for saying this, but I think that York was a brilliant con artist because his scheme is a masterpiece. Oh, man, I mean, listen, if that doctrine was to convert to a screenplay and movie script, man, it would be off the chain. It would really be off the chain. I agree, it would be off the chain. Let's see. I'm scrolling down, y'all. I'm scrolling down. I think I'm at the end. I'm at the end. Donnie Williams, Wujao, what made you join? I'll tell you what made me join. Like many organizations, the stated mission, principles, and aspirations were on point, and those were along the lines of creating an organization and a community that was rooted in doing for self, creating things where agency can emerge, where you have your own language, your own flag, your own culture. Basically, you're cultivating a culture, and that's a very aspiring, and noble thing to do. And it was about the future generations, the younger generations, in the future, basically lay a foundation. And so, organizations that seem to have their stuff together and organized and everything is gonna attract like-minded or people who aspire to, who sees those as lofty ideas and things like that. So that's what drew me. But in terms of the overall in general, but what made it kind of stick in the beginning was the precision and surgical way that the Abrahamic religions were debated. Now, that's one thing that I don't think anybody will be able to refute when it comes to that doctrine, the doctrine of questioning the Abrahamic belief systems, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So I don't think anybody can doubt that. And so that was a huge thing. But let me tell you something. When I joined, I'm gonna say this, and I said this before many times, so it may be the first time hearing me say this. But when I joined, when I first was introduced and eventually joined, I didn't know. Like, let me just give you some context. The organization went through different metamorphoses. Okay, it changed from Ansar Allah, Nubian Islamic Hebrews, Holy Tabernacle Ministries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Leading on up to whatever it is today. But now check this out. Every time the organization took on a new appearance and whatnot, York would change his name, his pen name, and what people would know him by. And at first, I didn't know that. Nobody told me. At the very beginning when I first introduced, I didn't know that. How could I know that? I wouldn't know that, right? So as I'm looking at the books, and I'm interested in the books, I'm seeing books that in my mind are written by different people, but come find out it's the same person. It was York. Imam Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi. Then you have Rabboni Yashua Bar el-Hadi. Then of course you have Melchizedek, and so on and so on. And I'm looking at these books, I'm like, okay. I thought, so in the beginning, I thought it was a team. See, because I'm all about panelism, like panel, team, board, a board membership, things like that. So when I saw when I saw the multiple, what I thought at the time were multiple authors writing for the organization, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, okay, they got a team, they got a crew of people, writing for the organization. All right, okay, that's what's good, you know. Um, so yeah, I thought that was interesting to me. But then I found out real quick that nope, it's the same person. Just the name change. The name change. Reverend Malachi Z. York. Isa El Hadi Amati. El Imam Isa El Hadi Amati. Yashua Bar Rabboni. Yashua Bar El Hadi. Atum Ray. Like, man, this is a lot of names. A lot of names. So anyway, thought I'd tell you that. So, but listen, it's late, y'all. I've been on here for 2 hours, and that's cool. They said, "Well, I've been did set up a crypt." Yeah. You know what's funny though, Medjay? I left that organization officially in 2008, 2009, late 2008, early 2009. Like I literally want to say like the new year was like that was it. Like 2008, 2009. That's when I officially left. Like when I say left, I'm talking about left. Like left completely. Nobody knew why I left. I never told anybody why I left. Never hinted that I was leaving in that stuff. So I just want to put that out there. Even to this very day. But the reason I'm saying this is because when it comes to the tenets, the doctrine, and all that kind of stuff, I left before that. Like that part, I've been done with that. You know what I'm saying? And anybody knows me knows that for sure. Like anybody that was around me, they know that I was not associating myself with the doctrine, teachings, none of that stuff prior to me actually leaving. And then the reason why there was a gap between me leaving and then leaving is because of my role and what I was doing to help out and deal with all the legal stuff and legal situations. Yes, but that's it. So, but what's funny is people will try to use when people can't win an argument with me and they can't, they won't. They will try to bring up the fact that I used to be a Nuwabian and try to use that against me. And I'm like, you act like I'm hiding it and whatnot. I can tell you my Nuwabian name and everything. My name was Enpu or Anabu. At first it was Anabu Seti Unk. Then it was Enpu Satuk Unk Atum Ray. That was my name. So people want to know, want to look me up. Shoot, be my guest. Ain't nobody hide that. But what's funny is people will use that only when they can't win an argument about something with me right now or whatever. And they won't. They can't. I don't lose arguments. And because I don't argue things that I don't know about or debate. But they'll try to use that as if they themselves weren't at one point a Christian or something. Like I don't know what people's logic is. You know what I'm saying? Like just admit you can't win the argument. Like why go down that road? Because ain't nobody hiding. You want to talk about the Wahabi stuff? Go ahead, let's go. Because you don't know about it. But yeah, anyway. But a lot of people are influenced by that doctrine indirectly. Yep. Because when I first left, and then I started being on Facebook, I could see the influence. I used to argue with people, or just ask questions and just be like, "Nope, that's not true. Nope, that's not true." And to this day, boy, nobody's won an argument. on any of that. Any of that stuff. But I don't even talk about that no more. So anyway, y'all not gonna hear me talk about that anymore. I don't. I mean, it's been years since I even talk about anything that has to do with that. Yep. But yeah. So if y'all want to have that kind of show, y'all gotta contact some of those folks. Yep. But at the same time, just to keep it balanced, my experience was like people think that when you leave something, it's like doom and gloom. But no, there's certain skills and things that I would not have learned and been exposed to had I not been in an organization. So there's a lot of things to appreciate being a member, and this goes for anything. You talk to anybody who is part of any organization, they will be able to tell you some things they can appreciate, and then they can tell you some things of whatever the reasons are that they are no longer a member. So it's always like that, definitely. Anyway, any last things on Egypt, y'all? Egypt, Egypt, Egypt. Kemet, ancient Egypt, and Kemet. I hope y'all are tired of these are the Egyptian black conversations, or are they Mediterranean conversations? When are we gonna get into the genius? And I got Donnie's comments still up on screen, cause y'all know if you hear my frustration and when I go on my soapbox is how old these conversations are and how much past we are. Y'all have to understand and know that there's a lot of things we could talk about that I can talk about, but I don't, because everybody is focused on the wrong things. But let me just end with this though. My goal and focus is to funnel people into an environment of education and learning. And when it comes to ancient Egypt or anything else, but for these topics, ancient Egypt. So my whole thing is everything that you see me do, at least going forward, is going to be to that end. I am trying to funnel people into an educational environment. And the reason why that's important is because in order to make progress, you have to be able to measure progress. And so if you look at the school system, the structure of the school system, K through 12, excuse me, K through 12. Y'all know it's getting late because my voice getting hoarse. The school system is set up to measure progress. So we have grades, kindergarten, and then grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 12. So it's K through 12. And once you show proficiency at the first grade, then you graduate on to the second grade, and then you repeat that. And so within the grade, you're tested on certain skills, on certain knowledge, information, and whatnot. Your progress can be measured, and it's controlled. Your progress is controlled and it's measured. The circus community that we have out here, the social community, is not that environment. People are talking about random topics, old topics, repeated topics, misinformation. Then there's a lot of cleaning up to do, and there's some good information out there too. So I don't make it sound like it's just nothing but trash. But there's no structure. There's no measurement of progress, no measurement of success. It's the same topics over and over and over again. How many times are we going to talk about the Bible in the way that people do? How many times people are going to show contradictions in the Bible or this and that in the Bible? Like, how many times? Do y'all understand? For me, I did that in the 90s. I did that in the 90s, the 1990s. I'm way past that. I used to know the Bible left and right. In fact, I was a minister in the federal prison system. The what do you call it? The BOP, Bureau of Prisons, ordained minister. So I'm on record visiting inmates and doing all that kind of stuff. So I'm way past that. So for me, it's frustrating to see the same conversations brought up the same way, argued the same way, and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because there's no progress. There's no measurement of progress. People can't evaluate. You never. You shouldn't be able to evaluate yourself. There has to be a system of evaluation to be able to measure progress. So anyway, the point I'm making is me personally. If y'all want to know what I'm up to, I am laying, doing my best to lay groundwork for an environment of learning where people can funnel themselves, like-minded people, people who are interested in whatnot, whatever the case is, they can enter into a structured environment. I'm gonna give you two words that you all hear me say a lot: pedagogy, andragogy. Pedagogy, andragogy. If you're unfamiliar with those terms, look them up. Pedagogy is the science of teaching children or young people, and andragogy is the science of teaching adults once people pass the grade schools. And those two things is what my focus is. It's always been that way. That's where my background is partially in and whatnot. Teaching methodology and the environments for teaching, how teaching should be done. What's the difference between a teacher and an educator, and how to execute these things, and what is teaching, what is educating, what's happening on the teacher side and what's happening on the student side when education is being conducted or teaching is being done. All those kinds of things. And so from me, this is what you all can start looking out for. And I'm not about proselytizing, but as things grow and get more organized, I will be seeking to expose it and let people know and stuff like that, but not proselytizing. Because either people are interested or you're not. Some people want to be entertained. Some people look at entertainment and think it's education. It's not. It's not the same. All right, it goes for anything, because at some point, knowledge is supposed to convert over into utility or application. What good is it to memorize something or study something to be able to argue about it, but then don't sift through it to see what's applicable, what you can execute, what you can apply, what is can be used as a utility in life today, and to come up with solutions for issues and problems today, and to breed success. What's the point then? Y'all remember the cartoon G.I. Joe? I'm gonna spell it in the chat, Jay, right now. Pedagogy and andragogy. Yeah, look those up. But the cartoon G.I. Joe, it used to always end or begin, some say, knowing is half the battle. Remember that? Knowing is half, and that's true. Knowing something is not the end. It's not the end. Knowing is half. It's about putting in the work. Work. What is work? Does anybody know what work is? I did, Magi. I did. I put it in the chat. Andragogy. Pedagogy is for children. Andragogy is for adults. What's work? Robert Rand says energy. Well, I don't know if he's answering me. He said Hotep energy. So work is Hotep energy. He said Hotep energy. No, I think he said Hotep and then energy. No, work is not energy. You close. He said put it foes in coffins. Let me post y'all comments. Y'all got some late night jokes. Robert Rand says work is energy. No, that's not. You're close, Robert, but that's not quite right. Work is the measurement of the ability. Excuse me. Energy is the measurement of the ability to do work, but it's not work. It's the measurement of the ability to do work. That's energy. The ability to do work. All right, so that's what work is. All right, so y'all, so I don't see anybody got the answer yet. I don't see. All you have to do, if you paid attention in science, um, just think of the formula. Just think of the formula. It's a basic formula. It's a basic formula. Force over time. Close is force times distance. So now check this out. So what is force? All right, here's just a quick thing, and then I'm gonna end, man, because y'all gonna have me up. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Force is the pushing or pulling applied to an object. That's what force is. So what is force? Force is the pushing or pulling on an object. All right, so y'all remember that. Force is the pushing or pulling on an object. Now, if that object moves, then work is done. If the object does not move, work was not done. All right. Remember I said that. Now, I didn't make that up. This is some basic stuff, y'all. But it's stuff that we forget. But force is the pushing or pulling on an object. If the object moves, which means it has distance, then work is done. Remember, work is force times distance. So if you apply force to an object and it moves, then you're doing work. If you apply force to an object and it doesn't move, you're doing no work. So here's the funny thing. You can apply force to a brick wall, a solid brick wall, and it never moves. But you could be straining yourself. You could bust a sweat. Your clothes get all drenched in sweat, and the whole thing, and you get tired. And you're like, whew, man, I did some work, y'all. I did some work. But guess what? You did no work. You got tired for nothing. You did not do any work. So always remember that. When it comes to knowledge, knowledge has to be applied. So when we use work figuratively and say, look, we got to put in that work, what that means is we need to take knowledge and move it. Or in this case, figuratively, moving would be executing. We have to learn and then we have to execute. If you learn and you don't execute, you're not doing work. So when people say, come get this work, that's not it, man. Come get this work would better represent people who acquire knowledge through studying, but then have the ability to apply that knowledge in some form or fashion. Execute it. Apply it. Now, obviously, we can't apply everything we learn, but you're supposed to sift through knowledge to apply something. That's when we're going to make progress. And that progress can be measured, just like work can be measured. Work is measured in what? Energy. Energy is a potential. Energy is the measurement of the ability to do work, and it's in units of joules. And in the human body, it's measured in calories, right? We say caloric intake, or you burn calories. All right, anyway, I ain't trying to, go way off on it. I gotta end this. My voice about to go away, y'all. So just remember that though. That's funny, y'all, isn't it? You could be trying to lift a big rock, a big tree or whatever, and if you don't move it, you could spend an hour doing that. And in your mind, you doing work. But guess what? You didn't do no work. Because it didn't move. It did not move. Work is about movement, distance, force times distance. So now, if you want more information on what I just said, I did a video on spirit because in the whole conversation about spirit being energy, I broke all that down. How spirit, if spirit is energy, then it's not what people think it is, because energy is the measurement of the ability to do work, and you need matter. It's an attribute of matter, and people think of a spirit as non-material. So if in one hand spirit is non-material or no matter, then it can't be energy, because energy is an attribute or quality of matter. It's the measurement of the ability to do work. You cannot say spirit is energy and at the same time say it's immaterial. That's a contradiction. And people don't even know that they're contradicting themselves. That's why the whole spiritual, and I'm going to definitely have that conversation. Ancestral venerations, or our ancestors' spirits. What are spirits? Are they energy? All that kind of stuff. I definitely want to spark those conversations, and I know that a lot of people are not going to like it at first, because it's going to be different. But it is what it is. And our ancestor spirits? If so, what are spirits then? What is a spirit composed of exactly? And most people say energy. It's energy. Well, then they're material. And guess what, y'all? And this is definitely going to be the last thing. Energy is the measurement of the ability to do work, right? But guess what, though? Energy everywhere and anywhere is always governed by law. Think about that. Energy everywhere is governed by law. There's no such thing as an illegal energy. All energy is governed by law. All energy is governed by law. Boy, y'all about to get into some Kemetic science. Let me stop. All right, but I'm gonna say peace. I appreciate y'all tuned in. It's definitely late, and I definitely went over time. So, yeah, I'm gonna go live again. I was just chilling. Had some free time. I was trying to catch Smash Rockwell's live. I tuned in. He had just ended it, but he came over, and he brought up the Malhepri papyrus, and went over that first column a little bit and stuff like that. But that's a good papyrus to get into. So so check out Smash Rockwell channel if you don't already know about it, because he said he's gonna go into it some more and everything like that. And if I catch it, then yeah, I'll definitely chime in, because that's what we like to do. We got a whole archive of translating, freestyling, transliterating, all kinds of stuff. So that's always fun. My happy to be good too, because it's one of those ones that's rarely done. Everybody talk about Hunefer or Annie, papyrus of Annie, papyrus of Hunefer, but you don't see my hair Perry. All right, good NFL, Sherman Hotep. I'll see y'all tomorrow, or maybe not tomorrow, but I'll see y'all. Hotep, y'all stay safe. Oh, yeah, definitely stay safe out there, man, because it's some confusion in the health world, with people think that the pandemic is over. because of some statements that Dr. Fauci said, and stuff like that. People took his words and be like, "Ah, it's over if it's done, man," and stuff. And then the mask mandates or not to mandate and stuff. People kind of tripping out here. You know, people are coming down with COVID, like left and right. People that I know. I'm like, man. All right, but everything's cool. But anyway, just be mindful out there, y'all. But with that, I'm gonna say Shalom Hotep. See y'all.
Said that when you go to Kemet school, you became more alert. You more wake up. Your spirit wake up, and you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. When you study what we call classical studies, we must know nature. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some heretic too. We need to know nature. So the most achievement in Kemet for me is education. The way they think, they build, and they practice their education is very unique in history. Without education, I believe there will be no Kemet.